Rachel Lanaya Dawson's family says she was a loving older sister, a mother, and a caring friend to all. Just after midnight on Saturday, Cincinnati police say she was shot and killed and left in the forest.
She was a beautiful person and a beautiful soul. She kept us laughing all the time. And I would do anything in the world for her.
Grief weighs heavy on the family of Lanaya Dawson.
It's just too much.
Just before 12:30 Saturday morning, Lanaya's body was discovered on Trail Ridge Road.
Her name was Rachel Lanaya Dawson, or as friends and social media knew her, Lana Jordan, a young mother, an aspiring rapper, a black woman with a smile bright enough to light up a room. Just days ago, she was posting videos on TikTok with eyes full of hope. Now, her 1-year-old daughter still calls out, "Mama," every morning, with no one there to answer. Who took her deep into the woods? Who pulled the trigger 8 times to make sure she would never wake again? And why, until now, has that person still not been caught? If you love true stories, real, chilling cases that leave behind stark warnings about society, love, and betrayal, then this is the place for you. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because only when these stories are told does justice have a chance to speak. Don't forget to leave a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. Your support doesn't just help retell a story, it might save someone out there, someone in the same situation as Lana, with no idea what danger lies ahead. Lana wasn't born into wealth, but she was raised in a home full of love, where laughter outweighed scolding, and even in hardship, hearts leaned toward one another. Her real name was Rachel Lanaya Dawson, born in 2004, growing up in Cincinnati's Evanston neighborhood, a community marked by neighborly bonds and the familiar struggles of the working class. From a young age, Lana was the center of every room she walked into, not because of her looks, though she was striking, but because of her energy, her warmth, and her sharp sense of humor. Her grandmother, Janet Crenshaw, once said, "She could make people laugh even on their worst days." Wherever she was, there was laughter. Lana was the oldest child in the family, so from an early age, she learned how to be the anchor. She looked after her younger siblings when her mother worked night shifts, cleaned, cooked, finished her homework, only after everyone else was cared for. She never complained because for Lana, family was always the top priority. It was the thread that tied her to life, the reason she pushed forward every single day. The bond between Lana and her mother, Natasha Dawson, was more than just mother and daughter. They were soulmates, friends. Natasha once broke down in front of news cameras when speaking about her daughter. "She was my whole world, the youngest child, yet she lived like the eldest, always putting herself last." Then, at 19, Lana became a mother. It wasn't something she had planned, but she embraced it with all the love and courage she had. Her baby girl became the center of Lana's universe. She often shared moments of them together, online videos of her singing lullabies, holding her daughter, doing her hair with captions like, "You're the reason I'm still standing." Though young, she let no one cross the line when it came to her child. To Lana, motherhood wasn't a burden, it was a piece of her soul. Lana's friends described her as the kind of person who would show up at 2 a.m. without asking why. Someone willing to give, even when she herself was struggling. No matter who came into her life, an ex, a best friend, someone from the neighborhood, Lana always left them feeling heard, accepted, even if she didn't always get the same in return. That's what made her death so baffling and heartbreaking. A woman who lived for others, who loved without calculation, forced to meet her end in isolation, in the middle of the woods, wrapped in absolute silence. No one can say exactly when things began to shift. Those closest to Lana said she was still the same Lana they knew, still cheerful, still full of energy. But something, subtle and small, had begun to change. Not sudden, not obvious. But looking back now, the warning signs had always been there. After stepping into Cincinnati's underground rap scene, Lana began making friends with many in the young artist crowd, up-and-coming rappers, home studio producers, self-proclaimed managers. At first, it was an exciting, new world. She was invited to perform at small venues, shoot music videos, even had people offering to put her tracks on Spotify. Lana started to believe her dream could actually come true. But along with the offers came the stares, the suggestive messages, the so-called offers of help that felt like something else, the late-night calls with unclear intentions. Lana's mother recalled once finding her daughter crying in her room, taking down a TikTok video she had just posted because of the flood of vulgar comments. Gradually, Lana grew more cautious on social media. She live-streamed less. Her videos started using blurred filters or showed only part of her face. In the captions, she began posting cryptic lines. "Not everyone who smiles at you is a friend. Snakes never slither alone." A few close friends tried to ask if something was wrong, but Lana just shook her head. She didn't want anyone to worry, didn't want anyone dragged into her problems. One of the clearest signs of a fracture was the change in Lana's eyes. In the earlier photos, she smiled brightly, her eyes full of life. But in the months leading up to the crime, that light began to fade. The smile was still there, the same Lana on the surface, but deep inside was a weariness she could no longer hide. As if she were carrying a heavy secret locked inside her heart. A once close friend recalled that during their last meeting, Lana said something haunting. "I feel like someone's watching me. But it's weird, not like regular stalking. More like someone knows my every move." But she never went to the police, never told her mother, never asked anyone for help. Maybe she feared people would think she was paranoid. Maybe, like so many young women, she believed she could handle it on her own. She didn't know that every sign, each cryptic caption, every tense glance was a final warning, and by the time those around her realized it, it was already too late. If the changes in Lana had started as quiet cracks, then in the months before her death, they split wide open into fractures too big to hide. Lana's rap career was beginning to break out of the shadows. Her TikTok account, @NyaJordan, was gaining followers rapidly. The freestyle tracks she posted were being shared by small pages in the local hip-hop community. Some even called her the next girl to watch in Ohio. She created a Linktree bio, a sign that she was serious about pursuing music as a real career. But the brighter the light, the darker the shadow behind it grew. She started receiving anonymous messages. Lines like, "Think fame will save you from me," and "Watch your back at night, TikTok girl." At first, Lana brushed them off as random online threats. But when her phone was hacked, when someone began waiting outside the venues where she performed, she started to feel hunted. At a small local bar performance, a man approached Lana. No one knows what was said between them, but after that night, she stopped showing up at any events. Close friends said she seemed anxious and sleep-deprived, some nights staying awake until morning because of strange noises outside her window. Still, she tried to keep a strong image online. TikTok videos kept coming, captions stayed bold, full of confidence, but anyone paying close attention could see it. Lana was slowly drifting away from herself. She started skipping hangouts, canceling dinner plans, turning off her phone for hours at a time. An anonymous friend shared, she once talked about an ex-someone, controlling, jealous, and threatening when he found out Lana was starting to rise. This person had been part of her life once, and maybe couldn't accept the idea of Lana moving on without him. Around that same time, one evening, Lana posted a strange status on Facebook. "Some people don't kill you with a knife, they watch you every day, waiting for the moment you're at your weakest." That post was later deleted. No one asked, and she never explained. But from that moment on, Lana grew unusually cautious. In the final week before the crime, she sent her daughter to stay with a relative, saying she was busy. It puzzled her grandmother. Lana had never been apart from her child for that long before. Was it a sign that she knew something was about to happen? Or was it simply the final instinct of a young mother, one who sensed danger closing in but couldn't put it into words? We can't be certain. But what is clear is this: she was no longer herself in those final days, and someone was pushing everything to the point of no return. It was the night of the 6th of December, 2024. Cincinnati lay under the heavy chill of early winter, where every breath turned into white mist, and the streets stood empty beneath the dim glow of streetlights. The city was preparing for the holiday season, a time when Lana Dawson should have been wrapping Christmas gifts with her little girl, picking out decorations, and posting cheerful videos like any other young mother. But that night, Lana left home, alone. No one knew where she was going, or with whom. No new posts, no messages to her mother. Her phone's location was off. Everything slipped into a void. At 12:28 a.m. on the 7th of December, a passerby called 911. They had just driven past Trail Ridge Road, inside Mount Airy Forest, one of the city's largest parks. Nearly 1,500 acres of dense woods, winding paths, no streetlights, no cameras, not a soul in sight. The 911 caller repeated in a panicked voice, I think someone's lying in the middle of the road, not moving. I'm too scared to get closer." Police arrived at 12:35 a.m. What they found left the entire team in stunned silence. Lana's body lay face down on the pavement, her coat twisted off her shoulders, hair scattered across the ground. Around her were 8 9mm shell casings, spread in an arc, as if someone had stood in front of her and fired without hesitation. No signs of a struggle, no personal belongings, no wallet, no phone, no shoes. She had been shot right there, executed on the spot. No security cameras, no witnesses, no car stopping to help. Lana, the young mother of just 20, the girl with an unfinished rap dream, died alone and cold in the middle of that desolate forest, while the city slept on in silence. When the body was identified, police knocked on Natasha Dawson's door just before dawn. The mother had woken moments earlier with a sense of dread. Then she collapsed as the words hit her. "They said my daughter's name. I thought they were wrong. They had to be wrong. She just went out for a bit. She was coming back."
She was a beautiful person and a beautiful soul. She kept us laughing all the time. And I would do anything in the world for her.
Lana's 1-year-old daughter woke up that morning, calling out, "Mama." No one answered. Her grandmother held her tight, trying to stifle the sobs breaking through. That same day, the scene was sealed off. Police found no gun, no tire tracks, only a few footprints leading toward the edge of the woods. Not enough to follow. She was killed exactly where she was found. Not kidnapped and taken there later. The killer had dragged her into the woods and executed her on the spot. Every sign pointed to this being a targeted hit. But why there? Why Mount Airy Forest? Locals knew all too well. It was the perfect place to kill and vanish. No one would hear the gunshots. No one would notice. The killer chose it because they knew it was the ideal cover for a crime. And the most terrifying part, the killer still hasn't been caught. He could be living near you, still using social media, still watching every news story about Lana just to make sure no one ever finds him. Lana Dawson's murder wasn't a moment of impulse. It wasn't an accident. It was a decision, cold, calculated, leaving no room for error. Someone lured her into the woods. Someone pulled the trigger not just to kill, but to silence her final words forever. On the morning of the 7th of December, 2024, local news ran a stark headline. 20-year-old woman's body found in Mount Airy Forest. To outsiders, it was just another murder, another number in the city's cold statistics. But for Lana's family, it was the day their entire world collapsed. When Natasha Dawson learned her daughter had been killed, she couldn't even stand. She fell to the floor, screaming over and over, "No, not my baby. Not my Lana." Grandmother Janet Crenshaw, who had cared for Lana since she was little, couldn't speak a word. She just sat there, hands trembling as she clutched the phone like she was still waiting for a call from her granddaughter, just like every other day. Lana's 1-year-old daughter kept repeating the word "Mama" unconsciously. Every morning, she ran to the door, looking around the house for someone who would never come home again. In the days that followed, the family held a simple yet deeply emotional memorial at Lana's old high school. People came carrying flowers, candles, photos, and even Lana's music, unfinished rap tracks played aloud, as if to let her live once more through the sound. The Cincinnati community erupted in outrage. On social media, the hashtag number Justice for Lana began spreading rapidly. Even people who had never met her shared the story, voicing their anger. How can a young mother be murdered so brutally and no one's been arrested? Will her little girl grow up with a question that never gets answered? We stay silent. The killer walks free. Is this what justice looks like? Local media covered the story heavily. Fox 19, WLWT, Local 1-2 all ran reports. But while attention blazed in those first weeks, time began to erode everything. No answers, no suspects, no cameras, no arrests. Lana's family was left in a void of despair and anger. Each day, her mother woke with a faint hope that the police would call, that someone would finally speak up. But the phone stayed silent, and somewhere in the city, a child kept growing, with no one to answer to the name Mama. As soon as the victim was identified as 20-year-old Rachel Lanaya Dawson, Cincinnati police handed the case over to the Homicide Investigation Unit, the division specializing in the city's most serious murder cases. Pressure mounted from the public, the media, and above all, from the heartbroken cries of a shattered family. At the scene, police recovered 8 9mm shell casings scattered around Lana's body in an arc. There were no drag marks, no nearby vehicles. She was shot dead right where she was found. A hit carried out swiftly, efficiently, and far too clean, leaving behind nothing but blood and shell casings. The gun was never found, and though the shell casings were sent for ballistic testing, police couldn't trace them. No weapon in the system matched the evidence. Police pursued other leads. They checked traffic cameras around the area. No suspicious vehicles were recorded. They investigated Lana's recent relationships. No one stood out as a suspect. They examined her phone and social media accounts, but Lana hadn't taken her phone into the woods, and to this day, it still hasn't been found. There were rumors about an ex who had once threatened her, whispers of a murky relationship with someone in the underground rap scene, but all of it was nothing more than shadows, never solid enough to bring charges. No one was arrested. No trial ever took place. No suspect was ever named publicly. Lana's family kept pressing the police to widen the investigation. Her aunt, Marie Dawson, appeared at a press conference, her voice trembling, but her eyes burning with anger. When my niece grows up and asks why her mother was killed and no one was arrested, what will you say? That she didn't deserve justice? They demanded the full case file be released. They pushed for state police, even the FBI, to step in and assist. But the case remained on the active investigation list. No progress, no answers, no indictments. And all the while, the person who shot Lana 8 bullets in cold blood was still living free out there. He could still be going to work, grocery shopping, scrolling through social media. He could be waiting to see if the world will simply forget about a 20-year-old girl left alone to die in the woods. Some stories should never end like this. A 20-year-old girl standing at the edge of dream and reality. A mother who held her child in her arms that very morning, only to lie lifeless in the woods by nightfall. An artist rising on TikTok, writing lyrics about freedom, only to be shot 8 times at close range, left behind, as if her life wasn't even worth a final goodbye. Lana Dawson was not just a name on a page. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, a mother, a friend. She had the same dreams any 20-year-old girl might have. Success, recognition, love, given the right way. And instead of living those dreams, she became another number in the long list of young black women killed and forgotten. But the truth is this: Lana didn't die because of fate. She died because someone chose to take her life, and because this society wasn't fast enough, decisive enough, to stop it from happening. Her story forces us to ask questions that have no easy answers. Why were the warning signs ignored? Why do cases like this fade into silence after only a few weeks of media attention? And why, even today, has Lana's daughter still not heard the name of the person who killed her mother? What can we do? We can speak Lana's name, keep her memory alive. We can share her story, so that someone out there, someone who knows the truth, might finally find the courage to come forward. We can teach each other about the signs of violence, of control, of toxic relationships, so no one else has to become the next victim. Because Lana is not the only one, and if nothing changes, she won't be the last. If you believe stories like this need to be told to warn, to shed light, to protect those who can't protect themselves, then help me share Lana's story.
Part of me just never understood why the fuck I get the baddest karma ever. Like, I don't even know how it be karma, because I genuinely don't be doing shit to nobody. I really am a good ass person. Like, I fed a homeless dude. got him and his friend's son a drink, bought them some food, got them a lift to wherever the fuck they had to go, to some shelter and everything, and bought them some clothes. Like, and then same day, I lose my car, I lose my man, lose my job. Who the fuck was I helping? Serial killers, rappers, who? Who the fuck was I helping? Who? Fuck? The Ku Klux Klan?